Welcome back to part 3 of my program regarding inspiration. And thank you, Music for All Seasons, for bringing me together with my audience today. So, a big question I get asked, and I'm sure you are wondering, is what inspired me to play the harp? And for me, it started when I was very young. I had piano lessons when I was 5, but even before then, I remember reading a book, the Richard Scarry Best Word Book Ever, and in it was a picture of an orchestra. Every instrument in the orchestra was represented, and somebody was playing it, and because it was a Richard Scarry book, that somebody was always an animal. So next to the harp, there was a bunny wearing a purple dress. I don't know if it was the harp, the bunny, or the purple dress that first inspired me, but it definitely caught my eye. So when I was 6 and I had decided that I really was not interested in the piano, I went to a music camp and got to meet a harp up close and in person, and that was it. I was absolutely in love and fascinated by this instrument, and I spent the next year begging for harp lessons. Now, of course, since I had quit piano, my parents were a little skeptical about whether they should actually let me try a new instrument, especially one we didn't have at home. But I wore them down and started harp when I was 7. Now, the person who owned that harp happened to be married to the man who had built that harp. And together, Mr. and Mrs. Pratt wrote a beautiful piece inspired by water. And this is the thing about the harp, is it really is very good at demonstrating what water sounds like. It doesn't matter whether we're on a gentle pond like we were in the barcarolle, or whether we're looking at a little fountain, which is the name of the next piece. Did you hear how it sounded like water flowing, just dripping and being pretty, but not rough like an ocean? I'm going to go back to a little bit more about the story of how I came to be a harpist. Now, when I finally wore my mother down and she went out looking for a harp teacher, we discovered there was one in my town, which was very convenient. And I was very, very excited with my harp lessons, and obviously the fact that I'm still playing says I didn't feel the same way about harp lessons that I did about piano. I ended up taking it very seriously. I went to music camps and I studied in Ireland, and when I was 16 I went away to a school where I could finish my high school and a place where I could truly devote myself to practicing and being in orchestra and learning as much as I could about being a musician. I then went to Oberlin College and I got a performance degree. As it happened, both my first teacher and my college professor studied with the same harp teacher. His name was Salzedo. He grew up in the south of France, studied at the Paris Conservatory, and eventually moved to New York, and then taught in Philadelphia at the Curtis Institute of Music. Now, Salzedo was a Frenchman who spent his adult life in the United States, but for him, his inspiration came from Spain, and very specifically a region right between Spain and France, the Basque region. And you can hear in all of his music that this was the influence he brought with him when he composed works for the harp. So I'm going to play one of those pieces. It's a Spanish dance called the Rumba. Was that fun? Did you feel like dancing when you listened to that? We've explored how people we meet and water and places and buildings and history and stories and all sorts of things can inspire a composer to write a piece of music. What inspires you? What makes you feel like going about your day just trying a little harder or doing something new? One of the things that can be very inspiring is just the sense that you've met people, you've got people in your life who help support you, who make you happy, who ultimately make you feel loved. And that's the inspiration behind the next song that I'm going to play. It comes from a very famous movie, and it's just about the idea that when you love somebody, that is something you take with you for the rest of your life. So I hope that got your heart feeling inspired to just keep going on. I'm coming to the end of my program, and normally I would take questions at this point, but unfortunately I'm not going to be able to hear those questions. I just want you to know that it really is inspiring for me to get to put together a program to share with you and to teach you how I approach each piece of music, what I might be thinking about. I always want to think about the composer and the story behind the piece of music. And if I can express it not just with words but with my fingers and bring you along into the setting or introduce you to the person or whatever it is that inspired the composer in the first place, then I just have the most wonderful time. Music for All Seasons is such an important part of my performance career, and I'm just grateful for what they do for me as well as what they do for you, and that they brought us together today. So I'm going to leave you with one more song, and this is a very, very famous song. It basically just paints a picture to allow us to search for whatever it is that inspires us, motivates us, what makes us want to keep being ourselves and be happy and true to who we should be. Sorry for the phone ringing in the background. It will stop soon enough. So I'm going to take you over the rainbow. And thank you, Music for All Seasons. I hope everybody has a wonderful day.